Today. Today we're going to be working on organizational behavioral management and team building strategies, but I'll talk a little bit about myself. And what's going to happen is when I share the screen, I won't be able to really see anyone, including myself. So just bear with me. So you know a little bit about this presentation. I like people talking. I like conversations going back and forth, and this is really for you and how we use this or how you're going to use it with yourself. So I guess I'll start with me. I'm an IBI with the school district, means I'm a behavioral specialist. I am also just a little touch, like 20 seconds. I'm also a behavioral consultant. I work with families, businesses, and of course, kiddos. I'm also a minister. I work with in juvenile detentions and with people. And then also, I've done all sorts of stuff in the past, probably like everyone else. I mean, I was in construction, I was in the military, blah, blah, blah. But the main thing I focus on for years and years now is behavior. And this course or the trainings that we had some really great behavioral courses. So this is just another part of behavior. So welcome, and I'm glad you're here. All right, so I'm going to share my screen, and 1 second here. And I'm going to present. It's loading, and if you can't see it, just shout out or type in the chat. That would be great.
It looks great, Chris.
Thank you. I appreciate that because I can't see anything, so that really helps me. All right, so organizational behavioral management, team building strategies. So what is OBM? Because you'll hear that. It's fairly new. I mean, not fully new, but fairly new in behavior. So OBM is a subdiscipline of ABA, which is the application of behavior of analytic principles and contingency management techniques to change behavior in an organizational setting. Okay, say that 3 times fast, right? That's really, it's really nerdy. Like there's some huge nerd words that we use in our field. So in this presentation, I try to take most of those out. If I do use those words and they don't make sense, just let me know because I want you to understand what they are. So that's just a little tidbit on that, but let's look at what it is. OBM focuses on assessing and changing the work environment to improve workplace culture and employee performance. So that makes a little sense than the first one. And then this is what it can really do. And there's so much more than just what I'm touching on here. There's a ton, but this is huge. So increase employee performance. That's one thing we all want. Increase employee retention, because that, you know, people come and go and we want to retain. So using ABA, you know, with our kiddos and everything along the lines, now we use it with team building and organization and huge corporations. I mean, big Fortune 500 companies are hiring behavioralists to come in and do this. But I don't see any reason why when they have the whole corporation do it, that we can't do it in each individual classroom, because it really does work. And it's fantastic. And I'm going to talk about that in a second. So 3, develop and increase staff skills. We all want our skills to grow. I always figure by the time one day, if I come in and say, I know enough, I got it all done, I should probably retire because we're always growing our skills. And that's something that we can look forward to. Increase parent and student satisfaction. And I've listened to, you know, trainings all day long, and this kind of incorporates all that. We want to have parent and student satisfaction. We want to build that rapport. We want to look at all this. And I'm going to touch a little bit on the like the data side of what this is, but barely any of it. You've had some of that. I'm just going to let you know how that incorporates in a second. Improve quality standards, create a happier work environment. And who really doesn't want a happier work environment? I mean, it's statistically proven that they will work longer, harder, and for less people, everyone, if they're happy, if they're making a difference, if they feel like when they wake up in the morning, they enjoy the people they work with, they're recognized, and they make a difference, people, they need it. We all do. And then gain a sense of purpose. Everyone that I've ever met wants to feel like they have a purpose, and obtain individual and group recognition. And that's something we're really going to talk on in this. So I'll have strategies at the end, and it's a live strategy because we're actually using it at our school. And personally, I think it's working really well. So I don't want to give you something that we haven't tried. This is something that is actually implemented right now. So OBM creates a better work environment for our teams and kiddos who are, and like I said, I just talk like I talk. So kiddos who are statistically living through an increased level of trauma in their life. So trauma is real and we're going through a lot of it, and especially this last year. So we're going to see things tick up. We're going to see more behaviors. We're going to see it not only in our kids, our students, but we're going to see it in each other. Things are hard. So how do we go and change that dynamic? How do we really do it where we can actually take data, have a plan, implement that plan, and change the dynamics of our workplace? So that's what we're going to talk about. That's OBM, on the light side. We're not really digging deep, but this is kind of what we're going to dig into today. So our next screen is, how do I know for sure it's working? So that's another thing. Like with ABA, it should never just be, well, Chris said, so it is. That doesn't mean anything. I want to know that it's working. So a lot of things that we do are that it's the same way we would take data if we're looking to put a strategy in for a kiddo, right? So we're going to observe your team and learn what is reinforcing to them. We got to stop. We got to look and go, oh, okay. What is my staff like? What are my teammates like? What makes them tick? What is reinforcing? We're going to talk about that, right? So maybe an idea on how we can do that. We have to set goals. What are we even trying to achieve? So like if you're a behavioralist going into a big corporation, you would want to look at their mission statements. You would want to look at where they want to get their company to and what they based it on. Well, we're really no different as teachers. We have our school. We have goals set. We want to look at what the goals are for the kids, what the goals are for each other, and what we're trying to reach for that year or just in general. We want to take baseline data, so on selected goals. So we're going to do the same thing. Here's our goal. We observed. Here's our goal. We agreed on that. We're going to take our baseline data, which is on the left of that line. We're going to design strategies to obtain those goals. We're going to implement and model strategies to the team. So you're going to have someone that goes and actually models, and we're going to talk about what that looks like, strategies in a little while. And then you're going to take data to see if your strategies are working. Is this really working? I mean, it was a beautiful idea. We sat down, we came up with it, but is it really changing? So we want to be able to prove that it is, not just by your feelings, but literally, are we growing and meeting those goals? Okay. Again, if you have any questions or thoughts, please chime out. 4 common elements of organization or our team. So I'm gonna touch on this. So the common purpose is our goal. We always have to have a goal. We have to have something that we're searching for, something we're reaching to, right? It's a coordinated effort. It means it's a team effort. It's not just Chris. It's not just the lead teacher. It's not just the paras. It's not just the coach or the principal. It's everyone. We are an organization, a team working towards a collective goal. Division of labor. Who does what to reach set goals? So we literally have to sit down and say, okay, I'm going to do this and this and this. This is your job. This is your job. This is a collective job. This is what we're all doing with our skills and our design job to reach the said goal. And then a hierarchy of authority. And I'm going through this really quick because I want to dive into what it even looks like. And the hierarchy of authority is maintaining managerial integrity, right? So we definitely have a chain of command. So you're going to hear me say, we're going to work as a team. We're going to come up collectively. There's going to be strategies. We're going to have an open, safe space where we can all talk and come up with it. But there's still a hierarchy. There's still the lead. Let's just go with a classroom. You have a coach, a principal, a coach, a lead teacher, paras, and then you have resources like people like myself, different therapists, yada, yada, and we all collectively work, and there's still a hierarchy. So like for me, if I go into a classroom, I might totally feel collectively, this is how we reach the goal. We need to up reinforcement, and this is how Chris would do it. But if the lead teacher and all says, no, that's not how it goes, then I have to back off and go, okay, well, let's talk and see how we can reach that goal, because we've all decided we want that goal. How are we going to get it? Right? So we work on that. So there's still a hierarchy of the team. All right. So that part I kind of wanted to go through and just give you an idea of what OBM is, that it's still ABA, that we still take data, that there's still a hierarchy, that all that foundational data and everything that we do is still there. But we're going to change that and make it more towards the staff, which is still for the kids, right? If we have a happy team, if we're, remember all the stuff that we've learned today where people are coming in and they greet the kids and they're happy and they're genuine and they have purpose, that starts with us really having our team to grow that purpose too. So that's the OBM part. So this guy, Michael Jr., break time, right? So I love this quote that he has. It's the last thing that he says. This is only 3 minutes, but there's a couple things I want you guys to really look at when I start this. So it says, if you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose. This will make more sense in a second. So the one thing I want you to look at, in about a minute or 40 seconds in, you're going to see this gentleman to the right. He's going to sing. Then about, 2 minutes and 50-ish seconds, I want you to look at, Michael gives him a purpose, a reason why he can think of why I need to sing this song. Now I want you to look at the audience. I want the before and after. Not that they didn't like his singing, but I want you to see the after. When he found the why, he comes alive, but it changes everyone in that room. That's us. That's the part I wanted you to think of. So I'm going to start this. And if you can't hear it, or if you can't see it, or if it's not full on the screen, please let me know.
This is called How Do I Know? And a lot of times when people hear the phrase, how do I know, next thing they say is what? How do I know what? But the key really isn't to know what. The key is to know why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For instance, my why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. My what is stand-up comedy. My what is writing books. My what can be going out with some friends to eat. In fact, another what that has moved me towards my why is a web series that we have out now called Break Time. So every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, you should subscribe to the channel. We do a series called Break Time on YouTube. So 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode. One episode in particular, I'm about to show you a clip to. We're in Winston-Salem. So break time, this is how it works. I travel the country, I do stand-up comedy, probably an hour and a half at an event. And in the middle of my show, I'll just sit down and start talking to the audience. And funny just happens. Or I'll meet somebody who's really interesting. So I met this one guy, and he said that he teaches music at a school. I was like, all right, you teach music, can you sing? And then I'm just going to show you the clip. Check it. So your music.
Okay, right here, he's going to talk to this guy in the audience, and he's going to have him sing. So please watch the audience, and then we'll see what happens after.
So director. Cool. Yes, sir. All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch.
So they're smiling, they like it.
Like me. Wow, that bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid. I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick. If you know which version I'm talking about, just see if that exists. Let me see what you got.
Here's the why.
Amazing grace.
It gets better. Watch the audience. It's amazing.
How sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. Right now I'm found but blind, but now I see. here's the thing. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time I asked him to sing, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what has more impact because you're walking in or towards your purpose.
All right. Come back into here. So that was it. I mean, when you look at the audience, at first they loved it, right? I mean, they liked it. They're sitting there smiling, goes, yeah, he can sing. He explains the why. Why changes everything in us. I mean, we're social beings. I mean, why we do what we do is super, super important. So I'm gonna talk to you for a second. I'll start out with me, obviously. I'm not gonna ask you guys to say the why, but I want you to think why you became teachers. Here's why I became a teacher. Okay, so I don't really take pictures of myself. However, I was in my office, I took a selfie. Sorry you have to see that, but that's me, right? So here's my why. I believe that every child is a miracle. I want you to think about your why. And I do think they're a miracle. I decided to become a behavioral specialist in order to make a difference. I did many things in my life. I'm going to keep going on here for a second, but I did many things. I was in advertising, I was in construction. I did many things that I might have made a good living. I might have provided for my family, which is a why, right? But inside, I needed to make a difference. And I didn't know what that was. To give parents, but I found it. I didn't find it until my 30s. Now I'm in my 40s, but it took time, right? To give parents and teachers the tools and skills to be successful raising our next generation. I believe that everyone can make a difference and help their kiddos become everything they were born to be: happy, healthy, and productive. The teachers I work with probably hear that all the time. They're like, Chris, I got it. Happy, healthy, productive. But it's true. So a little bit about me. My wife and I, we raised a kiddo. He's 22 now, but he had a lot of things. And one of them was bipolar, and it was hard. And we were trying to figure out what to do. And there wasn't anyone to help us. And we begged, we pleaded with teachers, we pleaded with therapists, we pleaded with doctors, and there was no one really helping us. And that's just how it happened. It's kind of how I got into this. I mean, thank God. And the people that we help, a lot of them are the same too. And that kind of goes along with everything we've learned today as well. But the what is just exactly what I do. So you see the why, but the what is I consult with teachers and parents. I observe clients' behaviors. I collect and analyze data. I determine the functions of the behavior, why it's occurring. I work as a team to design and implement behavioral strategies to increase appropriate behaviors. I model strategies so parents and teachers can effectively implement strategies. And I observe and take data to see that interventions are working. That's the what. That is what I do. But without the why, without that, I would not be the best specialist that I could be. I would be changing lives. I would just be going through the motions. So I want you guys to think, why did you become a teacher? You could have been anything in the world. That was a beautiful part about living here. You could have gone to school and become anything you wanted. But we all have purpose. You know, we all have jobs that contribute to making a difference. And I don't want you to lose sight of that, because when we're doing this team building, when we're doing the OBM, that's massive. Those are the things, it's going to make more sense in a second here as to how this comes together. But the why is huge. All right, so where do we even start with this? It's like, okay, Chris, heard enough. Where do I go with this? So strategies to reach your team's goals. Act, I just like that. Action, changes and things. All right, first thing to do, set your goals. We talked about that. So here's some suggestions. Again, it is not, you don't have to go off of this checklist. It is off of what you feel, right? Like what goals you are setting for your classroom, for your school, for whatever the case is. So like one, open communication. I'd like to have more of that. Staff retention. I don't want them leaving, right? I want people to stay. Working as a cohesive team, that'd be nice. Reliability, punctuality, define team roles, decrease tension in the classroom, validation for hard days work, data collection. It can be the goals that you want. Again, these are just things I wrote on here. It's what you see, you've observed. Now, these are the goals you want to set. You got to write them down, figure them, and then that way it gives you an idea of where to go. On the right side, academic goals: increase ready to learn skills, increase social emotional, increase reinforcement, building rapport with students, keeping parents updated, increase appropriate play, increase use of visual schedules, and the list goes on and on and on. I would not take a million of these, of course, but I would hit, 3, 5 different goals that you really want to hit, and then and start going for that. Take little, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? If it's too much, it's too much. Just take a little bit, hit those goals, and then you can, take data and see if you're really, really attaining those goals. Okay. I have both computers, so I have notes on one. Okay, team communication. I'm going to start there. So we took our goals, right? We know what our goals are. Check. Now we have to communicate. So what does that look like? What's an effective communication? So increasing communication in classroom, number 1, take 5 to 10 minutes after each day to discuss your collective goals, successes and failures. Self-assess. Self-assessing is huge. You have to self-assess and you have to be real. We all want to be the best that we can be, but sometimes we have off days. Sometimes things happen. Remember those setting events and this and that? We're the same. It's not just our kids. It's us too. And collectively sitting down and looking at those and looking at ourselves, that's number 1. 2, choose a person to start, facilitate the conversation. Again, there's that hierarchy, but if the team lead wants someone else to facilitate it, okay, but you still got to have someone leading it. Otherwise, it's kind of chaotic when everyone's throwing it in and saying this and that. You still want to have structure. 3, start off with the positives. So there's that Oreo sandwich. I have never said that to this group, of course, but I'm sure you've heard it. There's a positive, then there's stuff we need to work on, and then you end with a positive. It's not so hard instead of just full on negative. So like this is a great time to reinforce each other for the great things they accomplished during the class. Okay, you cannot do that unless you're observing, paying attention to your teammates. Look at what they're doing. And when they do things good, let them know. Seems simple, but right now, self-assess. Do you really do that? Do you really look over and go, wow, they nailed it today. That was amazing what they did. And then let it go. It's just in your head and you don't tell them. Those are things we need to say. Those are things that we can bring up at the end of the day. Those are things that you might want to, if it's okay, to say in the moment. But it's something to think about. We need to ABA our staff, right? Just as we would our kiddos. 4, this is not a time, and I put not really big, to address an individual employee's mistakes. This is a time to collectively work as a cohesive team for the benefit of our students. Again, it always comes back to our students. They're everything to us, right? That's why we're teachers. That's why we do what we do. But we want a cohesive team. And it's not a time to say, you stink. And I'm going to, I got 5 minutes today. I'm coming. Here we go. I'm writing this one down because we have our team meeting. I'm going to lay in you. Nope, that's not it. Let's look at the next one. This is not a time to demean or belittle each other. Are we self-assessing? Yes. Are we showing our successes and our failures for the day? Oh, man, I could have done that better. Yes. Is there leadership where it comes down, someone facilitating the conversation? Yes. Do we have to bring up hard things? Yes. Is it a time to hurt someone's feelings because you don't like them, you're angry, or they didn't do what you wanted? No, it's not. We're a team and we need to act as such, right? And then 6, this should be a positive experience for the purpose of the team's growth. You shouldn't have to sit there and go, oh man, we're almost done with the day and I have to sit down with this team. I don't want to talk to them. It shouldn't be that. We need to find that where we're all on the same team and we're looking forward to it. I want to hear good. I also want to be okay with, oh man, I bribed. Oh boy, I bribed that one today. I shouldn't have done that. And we talk about it and maybe even make a joke out of it, but we're working on not doing it again. That's the goal, right? And then 7, before you conclude the meeting, set goals for the team to work on during the next class. So I used to do this when I did clinicals. I'd have my team of technicians before the class. I would say, here's our set goals. We'd have a little team meeting, quick, 2 minutes. These are the things we're going to work on, right? Especially like with our kiddos, if there's IEPs or goals that we're hitting or social emotional or whatever the case is. Hey, this is our team goal, right? Break kind of thing. We're going to do this, this, and this. Lift each other up, huge. At the end of the day, we're going to see if we attain those goals, right? Because that's our goal, is to do the best that we can. Remember, we have a purpose and we make a difference. Well, we can just willy-nilly it, or we can literally have structure and routine or a set goal that we are going to try and attain for the benefit of our students. Sorry, that came out a little jumbled. Next. Oh, why is it not going? There we go. Okay, so where do we start? We started on that. Now we're getting to know our team reinforcer. So you can't reinforce. Can we reinforce our kids? We always say, well, you got to know what's reinforcing. If they don't like chocolate, don't give them M&Ms, right? Same thing with us. We have to know what our team likes, what they don't like. We can't do that unless we get to know them. So here's to the left. This is something that we use at our site. It's wonderful. I really like it because I use it. I go to it, right? So an accessible list of team reinforcers. This is just an idea. Everyone on the team fills out their favorite things. One, right? So you got my favorite things. There's cups and candy and soft drinks and tea, whatever, right? Two, keep them in accessible binder for all our staff to visit. Our amazing secretary, she has a binder by her desk that anyone can get to, right? And we can look through. We go, oh, that's right. She did like this, or he liked that. That helps. Give reinforcers consistently. Sounds like ABA, right? It is ABA. Just like we do with our kiddos, we're going to do the same thing with our staff, with our teammates, our coworkers. Always be on the lookout for moments when your teammates are working on growing the team goals. You're probably like, Chris, oh, I got to watch my team. Yeah, why not? Because it's reciprocal. You're going to want it just as much as they want it. Right? You want to walk into, and have you guys ever walked into a room where you're like, man, you can cut the tension in here with a knife. So let's look at that behaviorally. If that's the case and I can walk in a room and feel it, our kids can feel it. It affects their behaviors, which affects your day. I mean, it's all goes in a circle. But if I've walked into rooms where it's like, wow, this feels good. Look at this team. They work together. They're cohesive. They reinforce each other. This is amazing. This is fantastic, and you can feel it in the room. 4, update the reinforcer checklist, minimum annually, right? Again, you might want to have one that you just get to know your staff, you get to know your coworkers. But this is good to go to too, but I would change it because we change our likes. You guys ever like one food and then you ever notice you get older and you're like, I don't like that anymore, or I used to really like the smell, but now I don't, or hey, I just tried, hot tamales and I had no idea how great those were. I need to go find and write that on my list because I want someone to get me those for reinforcers. Sounds silly, but it's not. It's not. I go for food things because that's my reinforcer. But hey, 5. Everyone from the lead down should be reinforcing each other. This is not only for the lead to reinforce the paras. This is for, say, or for me to come in and reinforce. This is for everyone in the building, in the team, to reinforce each other. We are constantly looking for those moments, those things that we're setting a goal. So we have our goals set up somewhere, right? We all know the goals. That's what we're attaining. We all are reinforcing each other. This is not something we do one day a month. This is something we do all day long, right? And we have to know the reinforcers and we have to do it, and we all do it for each other. This is a team. And 6, every time we take an opportunity to reinforce, we are strengthening rapport. There's that R word, right? Rapport. You probably heard it all day long, and building our team. You have to have rapport. Can you lose rapport like with our students? Absolutely. You can lose rapport with your coworkers. We have to keep rapport up. We're a team. You're going to hear me say team probably so many stinking times, but it's true. That's what we are. We're going for a goal. Our students, academics, behaviors, each other. That's what we're searching for, right? And then remember that we are a team and everyone needs to be reinforced. I just said that, but I wanted to read it. So, but that's it. Something to keep in mind. Always looking, always reinforcing. That's my favorite thing to do. It really is, because that's where I get the best behaviors out of my kiddos and staff and coworkers and family and everything. Everyone wants to be reinforced. We love it. We need it. We crave it and we find it. So why not be proactive and start doing what we do with our kids with each other? Again, anytime you guys want to talk, please do. Handwritten reinforcers. So here's some suggestions. Now this is actually implemented in our school right now. The site lead here and myself, we sat down, we put a plan together, we had goals, we looked at what we feel would be the best, and we implemented it, and it is working great. I think it's working great. I really do, because I see the staff using it and reinforcing each other, and that's the goal, right? And there's a happy feeling when you come into the classrooms. There's this camaraderie that, I don't know, it's pretty amazing. So take a second to write a note. Take a second. A lot of times we're like, hey, we live in a computer world, but taking that moment and writing a note means something. You're probably like, oh no, it does. I've tried it. I don't just tell you things that I haven't tried, because I'll be like, well, does it really matter? It does. So like, for instance, a handwritten sentiment goes a long way in a digital world. When writing your message, make it genuine. We're going to go right back to ABA. It has to be genuine. Don't just write a generic, you're great, love always, Chris, or sincerely, Chris, thanks for doing your job. No. We're going to tie the reinforcement to the behavior that you saw, to what they're doing. And we're going to talk about that just at the bottom here. And as we would in ABA, when writing your reinforcing message, be specific, tie it to it. So, example, Sally, I noticed, so this is what you could write in your letter that you leave on their desk, and I've gone around and actually seen if this works. So see to the left, I don't know if you can see my finger, I'm pointing to the left. One of the teachers actually hang them up on their desks. So I know that it means something to them. If they threw it away, if they didn't care, if they didn't tell me, then I'm like, okay, fair enough, I won't use that. But this does work. So Sally, I noticed that you build rapport, remember, going towards a goal, with little Tommy today. You're down on his level, you gained amazing eye contact with him. I truly believe he could feel how much you cared about him. Remember, we have purpose, we have meaning, we're going towards a goal, and you're letting him know why. You're an amazing teacher. Versus, you could write in there, Sally, you did a great job today. She doesn't know what she did. Remember the ABA part? She has no idea how to repeat it. She got a note, she liked the note. You signed it, you wrote it, beautiful, done. But she doesn't know how to repeat that. She isn't, it's not as meaningful as, hey, I took 30 seconds, a minute out of my time, and I literally told you what I saw. You are amazing. Those are the kind of things that will change behavior for the positive. Those are the kind of things that will build a team. Those are the kind of things that we need to do for each other. Okay, next. So that is one thing that we implement in this strategy. That's one. Genuine shout outs. Okay. To the left, you're going to see shout out. I'm going to explain a little bit about this and how we use it. Tips to giving shout outs. Put them in a place where everyone can see them. For example, the lunchroom. So the board to the left is our lunchroom. You can't see a lunchroom. It's just the board that's hanging on the wall. We have our monthly focus right to the top left. So those are the goals that, like the site lead and myself, we go around and we are observing and teaching because we still have the goal. We're still attaining that goal. So when we go around, that's what we're looking for, and we're writing shout outs to our team for attaining those goals. But it's also for the team to give a shout out for any reason that they want. Anything. Hey, you smiled at me today and it lit up the room. You're amazing. Susie Q. Or like this one, I'm giving Hannah a shout out because Hannah always has a positive attitude even during a student's difficult behaviors. And we have those, right? Kids spit, scream, hit, yell, tear apart your room that you just did. You have a huge dinosaur on the wall you spent a week making and they tore it apart, right? But you handled it great, and others saw it and they let you know. It can be whatever you saw. It could be, you're always there for me. Thank you. You have a great listening ear. You have amazing instructional control because XYZ. Fill them up. So right here at the bottom, you're going to see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I just hit some. That didn't work out. Let me go back. There's 5 sticky notes. That's every week we go and we take them down. Actually, our secretary does. She's amazing. She takes them down and we start new. So that was the second day, the first day of the week. By the end of the week, the staff usually has this board filled, and I've even seen it go across the wall because they're reinforcing each other. It's genuine too. When you read them, they're awesome. They are amazing things that these people can take. And I've seen them around their rooms where they stick them on their computers. They take them, they hang them on their wall. It means something to them. It doesn't have to be a big old card. It could just be as small as a sticky note that says shout out and hey, look how amazing you are. So to make the shout out genuine, we talked about that, not a generic, we talked about that. Make it personal and specific, ABA. 3, get them frequently. It has to be frequently. Who just wants to hear something good every once in a while? All the time, tell each other. Fill that up. right? Always be looking for moments when your teammates are working on growing the team goals. 4, take the notes off the board every week. We talked about that, and start new. Start new every week. Make it something that you just get in the habit of doing. Every week there's a chance to reinforce each other and grow your team skills. We're always going back to the goal, back to the skills, back to reinforcement, back to the team. And everyone from the lead down, you're going to hear me say that, should be reinforcing each other. We are a team. I don't care if you're the principal, down to someone, that to everyone. Everyone has an important job. I'm not even going to say that. Everyone up all the way down is super, super important, and you can reinforce. Again, please let me know if you have any questions, because I can't see if you're chatting, or I can't see anything other than what I see. Behavior training and shout out recognition. So what can that like? So this is an actual plan. So we have the cards, we have the shout outs. We learned from the very beginning what their reinforcement was. We set our goals. Now we're reinforcing each other, and now there's actual reinforcement tied to it collectively. So rewards for working on goals. Our lead coach and myself recognized the teachers who had received shout outs and the teacher who applied the previous month's training in their classroom. We have a monthly training that the entire school works on behaviorally, and that's what we're tying it to. At least the lead coach Bailey and I, that's what we're working on. And then we go into each classroom, blow a party horn. You should see Bailey do it. It's awesome. The horns are blowing, right? And then we go in, we're happy. We congratulate the teachers who received their shout outs and take a picture, and you're going to see that in a second, that goes in our monthly newsletter. Remember, this is a plan. By the way, P.S., you do not have to apply this entire plan. If you just want to take bits and pieces and then, shape that into something, you can. I mean, sometimes it's overwhelming if you're like, wow, Chris, that's a lot. You want me to do all that? Take a little. Take just the shout outs. Apply it to something. Start there. But this was a plan that we put together. 2, every teacher who received a shout out from a coworker during this month will receive an item at a teacher reinforcement. There it is. Every single person who got a minimum of 1 shout out for the month gets to have this. And there's all sorts of neat stuff in there. There's reinforcers, there's candies. Our coach, Miss Bailey, she puts what is it? Oh, I like beef jerky. So she puts that in there for me too if I get a shout out, because those are things that I like, right? But there's just different things in there, and they get to have it. So not only are we going into the room, we're making it like a big thing, because it is. They worked hard to get that. The team is reinforcing them. Then they get a prize, which is kind of cool. Who doesn't want a prize? You might say you don't, but who doesn't, right? And then they're going to get their picture. 3, a teacher is chosen who applied. So there's 2 things. One is a shout out. They get the bucket and the picture. The other one is kind of like employee of the month in a way. You could say something along that lines. It's the person that the coach and I agreed upon that the most growth in that set skill. Like last month, it was in instructional control. So we are looking at who applied and grew their instructional control the most in their classroom. So that would be 3. A teacher is chosen who applied the previous month's training to the highest standard, receives a 20-minute spa treatment break in the lunchroom, while myself or the lead coach takes over their classroom. Again, you don't have to apply this. I'm just giving you an idea of what we do. You can just take little pieces. But what that spa looks like, and I actually got that from a colleague of mine. It was a beautiful idea. So either Bailey and I set a set time. We go into that classroom. We take their classroom over, basically teaching it. They get to go into the other room. They have like a bucket of stuff, like a spa thing and smelly, whatever. I'm not really into smelly things, but a lot of people are into the smelly stuff. They can read a book. They can listen to music. It's their moment to do whatever they want while they're there. We take it over. Everyone who received an award gets recognized in the monthly newsletter, which is this. So behavior training and shout outs of the month winners. This goes to everyone at our site and the big bosses, the principals over everything, because we want them to be recognized by everybody. The whole point is to show your successes. You guys work hard for these prizes, for growing your skills. You're not just doing the status quo. You're reinforcing. You're applying. You're working hard. So why not be recognized for it? And that's the thing, right? Okay, I'm almost done here. We're almost out of time, but I'm almost done. It says shout out and behavioral training winners. So this is what it looks like. Behavior of the month training winners. So like Sherry and Jennifer LeBaron, They won. We couldn't decide. They both did so good. They both actually got the spa treatment for this month. Most of the time it's just one. But like we don't just leave it there. We practice what we preach, right? So Sherry Lewis, she uses her visual schedule consistently and refers back to it after each rotation. Lever magnet that she uses to move on to the next part of the schedule. Nice job, right? So we reinforced, tied it to the behavior that won her the reward. And then Jennifer, visual schedules. So of course this was on visual schedules for this month. Last month it was instructional control. Before that was visual schedules. Has been taught so well that students are picked to move her arrow when transitioning to the next item on the schedule. Whoop, whoop, right? So kind of neat things. And then to the right is just pictures. And we have so many amazing staff. I couldn't fit them all in here, but this is just one picture. So like Drew, she has her shout out that she's holding up. Actually, she got a couple because she rocks. And then her prize that she picked. And then there's Anjali and Haley and Jody and Tina and Cassia. They all have those, right? So it's a collective team building because we fill that up. They want to do it more. And then every month it's something that they get used to. So I have this slide and then just my information if you have questions left. So bear with me. We're almost done. We have to change our behaviors to change our team's behaviors. You're like, what? This is one of the things that I say that people are like, I don't want to do that. Especially when I'm consulting, I tell parents or teachers or whomever I'm consulting, you have to change yourself to change others. And they're like, well, I don't want to change myself. Well, then good luck with changing others because remember, we have to put the work in too. So I like this quote. It says, you make a difference for every single person you come in contact with at work. Is that difference for the better or the worse? It's absolutely true. You will make a difference every single day with your coworkers. Is it going to be a positive or a negative? And it's just something to think in your mind, what kind of difference am I going to make? Because remember, when you chose this career, you wanted to make a difference for kiddos. You wanted to make a difference with your life. You wanted to have a purpose. Same thing when we come with our coworkers. What's our purpose? Am I making a difference for them, for the positive or negative? So thoughts to leave you with. And thank you for hanging with me. Sorry for that disruption at the beginning. I didn't get you on in time, so I apologize. But you have a purpose and could have been anything. And I've said that many times, but I want you to think, remember, it's the why. The why in you changes you. It makes you into a person that people want to be around, that they're excited to see. You're reinforcing, it changes you, but you have to know the why. You want it to be, and you chose, in my opinion, to become one of the most life-changing influences in our kiddos' lives, a teacher. And I truly, truly, truly believe that with my heart. I'm not just blowing smoke because I saw all sorts of teachers with our son. I saw my wife go home and she was sad and crying and there was all this stuff. But then there was a couple teachers in my son's life. And if it wasn't for them, he wouldn't have graduated high school. They didn't give up and they truly loved him and they listened and they worked. And collectively, he got through, and that makes me so happy because he's becoming the man that I knew he could be. But it needed teachers. We needed that too to help him get there because you guys are so important. You make a difference even when you probably don't even know you're making a difference. Every one of you can change your co-workers' lives in a positive way. And remember what I said, I don't have to be, we all know what's happening. This last year has been hard. You can make your co-workers' life better. You can. And there was just one suggestion on how to do it through this training. And 3, your words and actions, they matter. Everything you say, how you say it, what we do, it matters. It makes a difference for the positive or the negative. Even the smallest of positive reinforcement to your coworker makes a difference. For instance, a texting someone takes you what, 20 seconds, right? But you get those feelings, you send it. A verbal affirmation, let them know, hey, I saw you do this. You totally followed through and then you came back and reinforced that child. You're an amazing teacher. Thank you. We're totally hitting that goal as a team. Boom, high five. A written sentiment, we talked about that. Opening a door with a smile and a hello. Do you know how important that is? That's huge. I'm talking me now. When I go places, I like to open the door for someone. When someone lets the door go on my face, it kind of makes me angry. But if someone opens it and just smiles, that changes my attitude, my behaviors for a good while I'm in that store, for the positive or the negative. And genuine eye contact when we listen. A lot of this sounds like ABA, right? Reinforcing, eye contact, all that stuff. We're applying what we already know into a team building. Eye contact when we listen to each other can turn someone's frown upside down, and it can. So many times, someone just needs someone to talk to, right? And if you're that listening ear, you got it. Doesn't mean everything's always going to be implemented, but sometimes you just need to know that person, because genuinely ask your coworkers on a personal level how they're doing. Not always about work. Sometimes just say, hey, how's the family? How are you doing? You okay? You look great. Get to know them. Find out what they like. Find out what their family likes. That's important to one. Find out what reinforces them. Get to know them on a personal level. It doesn't just have to be work. Because that, what does that do in therapy? When we do therapy with our kiddos, we want to know them because we can use that. And it builds that rapport to where people want to be with you. It's super important, and it really costs us nothing to do that. I mean, nothing other than a little bit of time that we're going to spend with them anyway. And then remember, you are very important and that you matter. Every single day you come to work, everything you do, everything you say makes a difference, and you matter every day. That's the beauty of what we do. And then finally, I told you it was coming. You're welcome. Thank you for your time. Right? This is my email, of course. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'd love to ask you. I'm actually going to leave this on just for I don't know, maybe another 10, 20, 30 seconds. I'm going to take you off and see if anyone chatted with me. And other than that, I think we have hit our time. I totally appreciate all your time. I appreciate you hanging in there. This was the last class of the day. I'm sure you're tired, but you're awesome. And I appreciate you.